Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. Let me thank you for stopping on this post, and I give my best to get the best, to do the best. I'd like to take a moment to just offer my condolences to those of you, to the family members of those who have had your loved ones to pass on because of this particular virus. I also like to offer the prayers to those who have perhaps contacted the virus but are not in a death threat. And for those who have, for one reason or another, been denied contact at all, I'd like to give God thanks and glory for that, for each and every last one of you. And, for those of you who focus on the religious community, sometimes you get some information that's not that pleasing. For instance, you've heard perhaps someone say that this is a curse from God punishing someone. And to that degree, I guess I would feel personally more receptive to God using that to speak to the people of the world than giving somebody the authorization to go grab a gun and go kill people. And then again, when I think about the virus, I know that in a system where anything can be done for money, the only thing that can't be done is that which can't and hasn't been thought of. And so we find ourselves, whatever explanation we try to give, we come back with the same conclusion, that we are in a trying time, and perhaps, just perhaps, think about it for a moment, God is trying to tell us something if we will listen. I was listening to social media today. They were talking about the President of the United States standing at this podium with all of those professionals behind him, and he stand before the cameras and speak to the American people and the people of the world, giving out false information. And the people who stand behind him know that the information is incorrect, and yet they stand there in support of it. And if they are given an opportunity to speak, they try to make it a little clearer of what the president said shouldn't perhaps get the kind of attention that most people would give it, the kind of attention that the president is seeking. And even later on come back and try to back it back even further than that. But in the whole process is misleading. And so many might say, could this actually be a curse, not just to Americans, but to people of the world? Well, when you look at it like that, I'd like to say that if it is, God is not responsible. Now, I don't want anyone putting that on God. And let me tell you why. A few years ago, in 1983, God sent America and to the people of the world a message that it was on the path to hell. 1983. That was quite a bit of time ago. The prevention of, or should I say, the preventive treatment was offered. The message was given. The treatment was offered. Put all Americans to work. And to say put all Americans to work means put people of the world, all of them, to work. Just as you would if you needed them in battle. You'd call them to arms. Now this is life. And they all require survival. The same stuff. Put all workables to work. Flood each profession with thousands of additional workers. In food service, thousands of additional workers. Produce more food, less time at work, freedom to do other things. My. This is God's view now. I'm not telling you something about man's view. I'm telling you what God designed. Thousands of additional workers in housing. Thousands of additional workers in housing. The material is here. The need is here. Now, thousands of additional workers. Look like people are coming off the streets now. Thousands of additional workers in education. Education. Better facilities. Best instructions we can provide. Not just in America, but all over the land where humans habitate. Health care, from the womb to the tomb. Now you know that got to be God, because I don't care where they got socialized medicine. This ain't happening nowhere but in dreamland. Now what we are doing through this process, listen to me, creating enough goods and services, or should I say, creating enough goods and resources that no one would be lacking anything. See, God is not like human beings. Human beings bring people in the world and don't care about them. God is different. Every bit of life that exists on this planet, on this earth, God has already provided for it and made it sure and certain that if it is denied, it is not God. It is in your hands, the people's hands. So, that part for the nation has already been taken care of. And since it does not exist today, it suggests that a change of system is required. Now, the message was really unique, but no one was interested. The news media wouldn't mention it. Not even when the champion of such change, the one who was bringing the message, when he ran for president of the United States in 88, 92, 96, 2000, to talk about God's plan for heaven on earth, for the human being, for you, my friends, for all of your prayers to be answered, was put before you. Put before you. To go to the highest office of the land in the nation that you have held up as being the greatest nation on the face of the earth, not just presently, but to have ever existed. Stood before you, who hold yourselves as the most holiest, God-fearing, trusting nation on the face of the earth. Stood before you and offered all of that which you say makes you so special. Offering all of that which makes your God so much more than any other God. And your Holy Ghost and burning with fire and your service was put before you. Offering to go to the White House and be a voice of that across the nation and across the world. All it required was your support. You would think that the news media would have jumped on it. They didn't say one word. Not one word. Not one word. And everything that he tried to do didn't make any difference. Went on radio broadcast, community conferences where when the audience were engaged and responses were seeking from those who were participants, they always went around. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say the message was sent, let me let you know, I'm talking to you from experience. I am the one that brought the message. I am the one that's telling you this message today, right here, right now. And I have no problem whatsoever of identifying the message that I bring as being divine. No question whatsoever. Why? Because of the fruits that it bears. Hey, no shame here. But anyway, I ended up having to try some awkward methods, violated some of the rules and regulations. Some might say commit crimes, just to go to court. Maybe I could pull some people to the trial just to see who this guy who talks about being president, who talks about God, who now has committed a crime. Let's go see what he has to say now. They didn't know about it because they wouldn't even print it in the newspaper. They wouldn't tell anybody. So, only thing I had to verify to you today is the court records. You can go and verify everything I'm saying to you as it's related to the crimes or the criminal activity and my involvement with the courts. Look it up. I did it for you. I ain't hiding it. Well, and even that didn't work. But what had really happened, ladies and gentlemen, let me get you to understand. God had selected me from amongst a lot of people, as he has selected others. We don't know anything about each other, but we are out here. And he gave us information that we didn't have and that you don't have. And the miracles that happened, that is how we know that God exists. And so that gives us all of the evidence that we need to come and speak before you and be truthful to you, not worrying and thinking about what your real answer is going to be. We know you need this information to make the proper answer. And not even concerned about what you can do to us for doing what we have been given to do. And so, most of the time, if I ever got wrote up in the papers, I had to write the article myself. Tell you that I was committing a crime, that I commit a crime, that I turned myself into the courts, that I'm in court, come and check me out, or you didn't come and check me out, but that is what took place. Anyway, I ran for office. And ladies and gentlemen, I know I got one vote. And that was me. And I had to run as a write-in because God don't need your money. Nah, the message is golden. The message is divine for those that want it. And so, those that want it, it would break out like wildfire. And you know when the wind is blowing, that fire can cover a lot of territory. And something as fantastic as this, would you, the people, go to church, those of you who are without, asking the preachers to pray for you every day. You're on your knees thanking God for what he has done, but God, please just do a little bit more, because this is what I need you to do. And you go around and it seems like it's not happening, and you wonder why. And that's because you've been given some wrong information. You think it's going to be handed down to you as a gift on Christmas. Nah, there's a duty, there's a responsibility that's involved by you because it has already been given. The denial is not God, it's you, lack of knowledge. And so when God sends someone like me to share with you at least the knowledge that he's given me, and you reject it, then you got to suffer the consequences. Now, God's not going to stand up and bless you anyway. You know, like you need to exercise to take care of some business, but you don't, and all of a sudden you just gonna get up. Everybody else exercise and they're using their muscles, and you get up with no muscles and expect, okay, Lord, come on, take care of it now. It just doesn't happen that way. That's not having anything to do with fairness or justice. But anyway, I was totally rejected. The message that I brought to America was totally rejected, so you wouldn't expect any part of the rest of the world to even think about it. Well, not even the religious community accepted that. In other words, none of the messages of warning that I brought was accepted. But listen here, ladies and gentlemen, in 2016, America chose as its president a man directly at odds with God's warnings. They wanted and chosen a liar as president, a divider, a political conqueror, a hate monger. a compassionless demagogue, a destroyer of American society, not as God would have it, but exactly as the devil would have it. That's what they chose. And these, my friends, changed lies and turn them into alternative truths. So it might not be your truth, but it's mine. And since it's my truth is equal to yours, so let's debate it. But I got the deciders stacked, so I'm going to win. Is there? Well, people of color were to be treated as inhuman. Democrats were devils, and the media enemy of the people, and the president as God. Now, all of our lives, we could never imagine anything like that ever occurring in the United States of America. Even though all of the material, all of the fabric for such existed, we were so deceived we would have never come up with anything like that. And yet, with the right action, it popped up like popcorn. It's all over the nation now. Republicans and Democrats. Republicans leading you straight to hell. Democrats too. They just not going as fast as the Republicans. And the message that I brought to you, the one you prayed for, is still out there before you. But what is happening in your camp? Reese, fasten the door back up. What is happening in your camp? You're thinking about winning. Those of you who support the present administration, you're still giving it 100%. And those of you who not want to go that fast, you're giving yours 100%. But as far as change, you're not thinking about it. That's what got you here. You're not thinking about that which works for you. You accept as divine. I remember once I went as a kid traveling in a vehicle through a little town in Mississippi, and they said that this is where natives, that Indians lived in this community. And driving through there, sometimes you could see them on the highways, on the side of the highways. And in our minds, in my mind, I thought of Indians with bow and arrows. And when someone said, well, keep your eyes open now, this is where you might see them, I got on the floor of the car. Because my message from what I had been receiving was that you don't want to see a native. They were savages, and they would do this and they would do that. I remember seeing westerns where the Union soldiers were killing up natives, and I thought it was a great thing because it gave us a place to stay. You see how I was deceived? Can't you see how the people who have been running this country have been giving this certain information out? And the more you could relate to this messenger, especially being of their same ethnicity, not just Americans, but white too, and in power as well. You're not going to believe anything a black man is saying if it contradicts that. No, you're going to go straight forward. But a black man who was going through some suffering had to check out some things. And by checking out some things, to find out some of the stuff that you were hearing aren't true. Like we're hearing this stuff today from the President of the United States standing giving you all kind of untruths. And other people that's supposed to tell you the truth, to keep you up to date, it want to make them be what? Enemies of the people. Don't trust them. They're liars. Well, today, if the election was held, the people of the United States of America would vote for Donald Trump or a Democrat. The concern for all of the people in this country that suffer a lack of food, clothing, and shelter, a lack of education and health care, a lack of ambition because of unemployment and careers, these kinds of things doesn't mean a thing to this nation. All they say is they do, but they don't. Don't be foolish. Words are nothing but words. It's like I love you. The biggest lie that's ever told. Nobody love anybody. They love themselves. And when it comes up to them or you, it's going to be them every time. Themselves. You got to be something divine to put something else above you. And that is what God requires. God requires that no one accepts anyone being homeless, not with what he has provided. And if you're not standing up to make sure that everybody is housed, then you are against God. You can be standing up for everything else for God. But if you don't do any one thing, then you are against God. God ain't half-stepping. 99.9 is not good enough. Yes. Yes. When God is challenged and you are his representative and death is an alternative for standing up for God, what else can you do? Who made the world? Who made human beings? Who put you in it? And now that God can't protect you? Now you say, well, if he can protect me, why am I going to be killed? Why ask a question like that? You can't answer that. No one can answer that but God. But if God is sufficient, you've got to deal with it anyway. Then let God be God. So I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, yes, all of you who are going to go to the polls and vote for a Republican or Democrat, you are turning your back on everybody that's without housing. You're turning your back on everybody that have to eat at food shelves and shelters. I know you think you gave to charity, and now these folks getting soup sandwiches because you supported them. Yeah, you also supported them not having it. They don't have a job. You support them not having a job. You say you don't. You say, well, business not good. Why? Because you haven't given it the focus so you can determine what is required to make business effective like that. Well, healthcare. You know where that story goes. Most of you say, take care of yourself. Now, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I had my feelings hurt. I really got my feelings hurt. I made a decision after I learned the truth to walk according to that truth as is required. That truth is that God has a way of life that offers peace, prosperity, freedom, joy, and fulfillment of dreams. No other government on the face of the earth offers that. Every individual on the face of the earth wants it. Most of them pray for it. And the answer stands right in your hand's reach. And you resist it every time. You don't know that. You don't even know what's going on. But I do. And it's my job to tell you. In order for me to be real, I can't be going along with the devil's world, with the devil's system. Let me tell you what I mean by the devil's system. The devil's system is any system on the face of the earth that denies what I'm telling you that God has for you, or what your Bible says God has for you, or what it says that heaven is about. That's God's system. Ain't no suffering. And any system that allows that to happen and not trying to get rid of it is anti-God. And any people that accepts that is anti-God. Now, does that mean you're going to hell? Hey, that ain't in my hand. But I do know something. It says that you shall reap what you sow. The seed that you plant is going to determine what you get as a fruit. Now, what about this coronavirus? Maybe it happened in a laboratory. Maybe it just came from an animal. Maybe it just appeared. Because it is a result of the actions of not only Americans toward one another, but human beings towards one another all over the earth. You got people running from countries to countries, running from oppression, running from their government, robbing them, and others closing down borders. You can't come over here. That's the hellish thing I ever imagined. And it is the only thing I can see that's worthy of living in a time like this is to destroy that. But I was told that I was less than a man. I was told that I was a nobody. Why? Because if I was anybody, I would jump on the devil's bandwagon and take care of myself and mine. And since I don't do that, I am nobody. Well, that's what everybody got to go through. They hear that every day. And so if anything comes about God that takes away from that, then what are you going to do? Go sit up on the bridge, waiting for the soup line or the free store to open, maybe you get a pair of pants or something? Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm telling you is that what I told you in 83, you were on the path to hell. Now you got the devil's representative in the White House. The nation is changing from what it used to try to pretend that it was, and now just standing up, being representatives of evil. Not even prepared for the crisis. Even when you try to pretend like you care, through the past administrations who put up something just to make sure if an epidemic was on the rise or coming, they can be on their heads up, and somebody comes along and just tears that down to make sure. It almost makes it seem like it's a New World Order initiative to eliminate X number of people from the face of the earth. And who catches it, who gets got, doesn't matter to any of them. And they might just have a cure for it. But that only exists when people are selfish and don't care about one another. If they did, nothing like that could ever happen. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. I talked to you a long time today. Didn't mean to, but you needed every bit of it. I want to thank you for giving it your time. Until next, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye.